All right, so if you want to blow up on YouTube, we are experimenting with a Coachella strategy adapted for YouTube. And we're going to break it down here today. And it's something that you could do right now to get yourself 100, 150, 200,000 views on your channel by using this Coachella YouTube strategy. So let's break it down. What is Coachella? Let's just first start off there.
So Coachella, if you didn't know already, is a huge musical festival that happens once a year. So there's a little bit of scarcity right there getting into Coachella. It is very hard because it is an expensive event to get into, but that doesn't stop people. People are, paying for, I think general admission's like $600 a ticket.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. But why, how does this have to do with YouTube?
What does it have to do with YouTube?
No. So that's what I was thinking today when I was talking about Coachella. And I was like, they're averaging 100 to 200,000 people at this to see these top artists perform, okay? We're averaging on this channel about 100, 150, sometimes, depending on the month, 200,000.
Over 200. 212,
yeah,
I think, on top.
Monthly views, right? So this is only happening once a year, Coachella. For us, we're doing this every month, okay? Now, I know Coachella is only 2 weekends, and this is a little different if we're talking about a month, but we're getting those views in a month. So that made me think, okay, we're having almost like a mini Coachella every month, almost a full Coachella every month from our videos. And how are we able to do it? And how is Coachella able to do it in 2 weekends? Even though it's a live event, what's the difference? And one of the things that I see as first as a similarity is Coachella adds one thing, which is FOMO, fear of missing out, right? It's only once a year. It's only for 2 weekends. When you post a video, and we're gonna start with this, the first step, which is your title, right? We need the title, number one, because that's gonna boost your impressions. We need that title to be so strong that it has FOMO built into it. So the title that you're reading right now has a little bit of FOMO in it without you realizing it. And you're clicking on it because you're getting so intrigued by it, right? So
like, what is the YouTube Coachella strategy?
And you don't wanna miss out on not hearing what it is.
You wanna know what it is?
You wanna know what it is.
And you probably never heard of it.
No, because it's never been a thing.
Because we just made it up today. And I didn't want to cut you off, but I want you people to realize too, like, this video right here is a Coachella strategy video. The title, number one. There's also something we did within the title, which we're going to share a little bit later on why this video could potentially go what we call micro viral. We have videos on this channel that are over 100,000 views, and those are Coachella type style videos, which we didn't even know what we were doing as far as making Coachella, using that strategy. We'll talk about that and break it down. But I really want people to understand that getting the amount of views can happen from one video. It can also happen from a collective of videos. And we want to be able to do that every single month. So talk more about, again, the title. That's number one.
Title's number one. And so how can we get more of that FOMO in there, right? So yes, we use outlier titles, and outlier titles are titles that we find from channels that have smaller subscriber counts, and they have videos that blow up. Maybe they have 1,000 subscribers, they have a video get 50,000 views or 100,000 views, right? That's an outlier because it didn't come from the subscribers. It came from the algorithm pushing it out to the right audience. So what we do is we take those titles and we reconstruct them, and then we use them in our niche. And we even tweak them a little bit to make sure, everything fits. We add a little FOMO in there, and actually, we've created a swipe file with 10 of the best ones that we've used on this channel. Some of those videos got over 100,000 views, and they work for other channels as well. If you guys want that, it's a free swipe file. Just comment hooks down below. And we'll send you that. Again, it's 10 that I handpicked, and they've worked on multiple channels. And
we've got people that have gotten thousands of views from just using one of those titles. Now, not guaranteeing that it's going to work for you, but even this title right here could potentially be a new outlier title. So stay tuned for that.
And so what we did, guys, and usually we always go with the title first, right? We want the title first before we record a video. Like, we had the title in mind before we did this, right? So we had that title. In our title, we need to add that FOMO. There's a couple different ways you can do that. One, just research it in your niche, like what people are talking about, and seeing if you see any videos that are outliers that have maybe even a segment in it. Maybe at the end it says something like, do this or else you're gonna miss out, or do this or this won't work, whatever, right? So you have to play with it, but find something that's going to add that FOMO. So in this video, it wasn't necessarily like do this or you're going to miss out. It was something you've never heard of, right? So that is another way where it's still FOMO because you've never heard of YouTube Coachella strategy.
Right.
What the heck is that?
I just coined it.
Exactly. So if you hear anyone talking about this, it came from here. So make sure you guys come back to this video and be like, yeah, they started copying you guys. You started.
It'll happen. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so title.
Title
is number one.
Yep.
We already hooked you up with our top 10 titles that have worked really well for us. If you want that, just put hooks in the comments. But first off, I want to ask right now before we go on to the second thing, and that is, have you ever heard of Coachella? Let us know that.
You never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
I had to teach him.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And it is a major event. And I think if people understand too, like big events like that, like think about a festival, like a concert that is a festival of all different bands. They draw sometimes hundreds of thousands of people to this venue, to this outdoor venue. If you think about it, we have had that type of attention on just this channel, which is not the only channel we've grown in the past. We've got other channels that are over, another channel is over 100,000 subscribers, had like 9 million, views and everything. But if you think about that, and it doesn't have to be millions, it doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands, it could be thousands, but still think about that. Coachella, which I just learned of, is like a festival type style event that draws a lot of people. And if you think to yourself like, wow, 50,000 people, 100,000 people, that's a lot. You can have that with your channel if you're strategic. And like I said, this title today, there's a little something we did in here that we're testing, which again, we'll report on this. That's what we do on this channel. So we're gonna move on to the second thing. Before I do that though, guys, if you're getting value from this, we're also testing this. Go ahead and hit that like button. We're just trying to see
We're
if that...
testing a bunch of things, which if you guys haven't if you couldn't tell already, we've been testing a bunch of stuff on this channel and we report back to you guys so you can kind of see the results of whether things work or not. Like this is all about kind of testing everything with YouTube to see what works, what doesn't, and just being brutally honest with you guys.
And a little timeout here real quick. I like to call these audibles. I'm doing something here on the fly. If you right now are watching this and you're wondering why the heck these two guys are in a hotel room, we're here visiting his grandfather, but we had this idea and we're like, let's just go ahead and shoot a video. And here we are. We're only using an Osmo, our iPhone, and we've got the DJI mics. Everything's linked up in the description, by the way. But the window light's doing a great job. Look at the lighting on it.
It's awesome.
Right? So if you guys are also thinking to yourself, you got to have all this fancy setup and you got to do all this planning, we planned this for about 15 minutes. I think I was taking a shower, you were looking up stuff, and then I came out and you're like, this is what we're gonna do. And here we are. So anyway, just a little side tip. All right, so what is the second important thing here that we have to have? Because we can have a great title and everything, but if we don't have this second thing, really isn't gonna work. What is that?
It's that thumbnail. I mean, we need the thumbnail because we're talking about packaging, right? This is the second part of the packaging. There's 3 parts, so make sure you stay to the third part. But the second part is that thumbnail. We need the click-through rate to be pretty good, okay? We aim for over 5%, but here's a little thing we're learning, guys. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys and transparent. We're noticing in the first hour, and again, depending on your channel, because you can get later growth. I would say even probably first 5 hours, because that's what they're looking at, YouTube's looking at. You want to be probably around 7-8%, right? If you get higher, if you get 10, I guarantee that video is probably going to blow up because that's happened for us. Every video that comes out the gate in the first 5 hours, that's 9 to 10%, typically ends up going micro viral. And that's something that we've been really focusing on lately is with the thumbnail. And I want to break down the thumbnail real quickly. Is a lot of people they're like, oh, I'm just gonna put flashy stuff, this and that, and do all these things, right? You can do all of that, but let's go back to the basics first. I want you, before you add text, before you add a bubble of whatever you wanna add, screenshot, okay, does your thumbnail tell a story? Okay, now you might be in a niche where you're like, yeah, but I can't show a prop because it is a screenshot, okay? Okay, that's fine. First, if you're in it, I need a facial expression. I need something to feel an emotion, all right? So we're gonna start with that. Then we're gonna add in the next piece, which is if it is a screenshot, maybe it's a product, maybe it's something you're pointing to, right? Add that in. And then the words on top of it builds that curiosity, okay? And that's gonna be like the last factor in there. And even in the thumbnail, I want those 2 to 3 words that you're putting on there they need to be a hook that is adding that FOMO as well, where you want to click on that video and
you wanna
stop
know.
your scroll and you want to figure out the heck are they talking about,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm going to read the title and then I'm going to click on it. So one thing I want to say, and I say this if you haven't watched any of our other videos, your title is impressions. So think title, that's going to give me eyeballs to the videos. Not clicking yet, but eyeballs to pass my video. The thumbnail is ultimately being the click, which is your views. So if you want more views, essentially, after you get your eyeballs, you need the clicks, which is the thumbnail.
Yep. Okay. So we've got title, we've got thumbnail, and we have a third piece here, and that is really important, and that is the intro. The intro has to hook them, and if you're still watching this, that means that you have been hooked in a good way, because we're delivering on what we promised. And that's the other thing is you want to make sure that you deliver on your promise. But the intro hook, if you want to actually now go back and kind of analyze the intro hook, go for it. And if you watch any of our intro hooks, they're there designed to create that curiosity, but also it's something that you desire, something that you want and that you want to know more about. We also opened a loop, which we call opening these loops to get closure. And that is, I said, there's something that we're doing here a little bit different. And I'm going to share that with you here now, is something a little bit different, a little twist. And that is, we are trend jacking right now. Now, whether it's going to work, we don't know. But what we're doing here is we are capitalizing on something that is trending, and that is Coachella.
Yeah.
So Coachella right now, this second that we're recording this, is trending. So what we're doing is we're finding a way to talk about Coachella, but also bring it back to what we are, what we're sharing. So again, if you were doing videos around the election, you might be able to turn something into there. I know on the other channel that we run is about e-commerce. So it was all about, what was the president, the new president going to do for that? And is it going to help us or hurt us? So you always want to try to figure out, and once a month, you could look for one of these opportunities to do a little trend jacking. So there you go. But it all starts with the title. And if you do want more help with those titles, we shot a video right here. Actually, I did, out by the pool. And I walk through those top 10 titles and I give you multiple examples on how to use them even more. Watch that video next. We'll see you there.